Hey everybody, I thought we'd do something different today. Just go over tracker knife sizes. Just so if you think about possibly getting one, maybe what size that's appropriate for you and what you're doing. Okay, so the farthest over to the left is a T4, the smallest of the tracker series. Over one is the T2. Right beside it I put an SE laser strike in for size comparison, just as a control. Over one more is Tom Brown Tracker T3, and then after that is the Tom Brown Tracker Digger. Finally we end up with the T1. Now mine are extremely used, except for maybe the T4. My son took that one over not too long ago, so he lets me play with it every once in a while, but other than that, that's his knife. So just kind of an overview of like what you would use the size for. So the smallest T4 is, I would say, like an EDC. Things are really great for EDC. Believe it or not, it cuts meat extremely well. You can do a lot of small tasks with it. It's tiny. Maybe I'll get some solid pictures in there compared to something else, but it really just drops in your pocket. T2 I would consider a bushcraft style blade. I know it's not conventional, but it's right about 5-inch blade. The handle's kind of short, so I actually carry that one in my pocket. It's $10.95. I've stripped it like I do most of my knives that might include food prep, because you're not really sure what's in the paint. So as you can see, it's right beside an SE laser strike. They're both 3/16, about 5-inch blade. Overall, handles are a little bit longer on the SE laser strike, but they're really close to comparison. I think the T2 weighs a couple ounces more, but it's just that weight in the tip. They're extremely heavy. Beside that is the T3, and what I use the T3 for is backpacking trips. That's been stripped also. This is before you could get them unstripped, or I forget what their coating is called, where they don't have a coating on it. And I spray painted the handles yellow, so if I drop it, I can find it. My model is in 154 cm, so it's a good stainless blade. It outperforms the T2 in chopping, and just underperforms the T1 in overall usefulness, I would say. But it's a really good option if you want to carry one tool. I really like that one tool. Pair that with a Swiss Champ, or Swiss tool, or just a small pocket knife, maybe a light saw like a Bucko Laplander or Corona saw. You'd probably be pretty good. Beside that is the Digger. Now mine has been customized a little bit. I'll do some close-ups if I can, but one side is factory ground and the other side I convexed. And I've also added serration, so a little bit hard to see. See if I can zoom in without botching this. Yeah, you can kind of see them a little bit. Because being a double-edged blade, it doesn't have the notching capabilities that some of the other ones does. So, as most serrated blades, you can do small notching with it. It's a great blade, and I know it's not going to be illegal in a lot of places just for the fact that it's a double-edged blade. But I like it. Being a 1/4 inch thick, it's only about a 4.5-inch blade, but it chops way out of its weight class just because it has so much of substantial mass to it. The handle is actually a little bit longer than some of the other blades too, and it has that really nice axe handle shape, so you can get really low, do a couple finger grip, and really get a lot of power out of it. So the T1, definitely my first tracker. I still say that it's probably my favorite, just because it blends the lines between a chopping knife, a bushcraft style knife, I guess. We're not talking about like carving spoons, but like making notches, making traps, stuff like that. It'll pull curls really well. So it's a 1/4 inch thick, weighs a little bit over a pound. Just the knife itself. It's got huge bevels. I mean, it can chop. It can one swing chop quite a bunch of stuff. Like it's a phenomenal chopper for its size. Being just at 12 inches, it packs extremely well too. there's not a lot of knives, not just the T1, but there's not a lot of knives that's in the same size and weight class as a tracker that will actually chop out some pretty good sized pieces of wood. It's that profile. It has a lot of mass at the tip, and you, because they're so thick and they're so chunky, you're not going to use them like a lot of full flat grind knives. It just doesn't work out like that. So when you hear them referred to as chopping like an axe or a hatchet, that's kind of how you do it. You don't come in these very tight, small angles. You're coming a little bit more obtuse, because the blades, the thickness of the blades toward the tip, the bevel, is that of a small hatchet, if not even wider than a small hatchet. And the reason they do that is it's durability. You know, if you think about why these knives are designed, they're designed as considerably a one-tool option. I don't think anybody ever uses them like that, but they're designed to function as a one-tool. That, like, not if you chose to take one tool, but if you only had one tool. Would this one perform? Would it break? Probably not. Would it perform? Yes. Would it perform better than a group of 3 knives, or a knife, an axe, and a saw? Probably not. But could you do it in a pinch? Probably. Are they bomb-proof? I'm going to say they're pretty close to being bomb-proof. I'm going to try to put in some action, maybe of the T2 chopping with the SE, since they're very close in weight and length, and how much space it would take up in your rough. See you there.